Hello and welcome all of you to my YouTube channel Animals and Pets with Partha. In my last episode, I talked to you about honest judging. Yes, that is of course the most foremost thing when you are a judge and you're going to be judging maybe dogs, maybe cats, maybe whatever. As it is, the judge's chair is always shrouded in controversy. So, in order to rise above controversy, you have to be 200% honest. 100% would be an understatement. Well, in our earlier days, how did one become a judge? In the days of the British time and all that, only the higher British officials actually could become judges. Then the elite and the Maharajas and the Rajas of India, even in independent India. Now, these are people who were thought to have integrity and, well, they wouldn't be sold off for little money. But then, times have changed, and in those days, we had only the books to refer back to. There was no internet and knowledge wasn't so easy. If you open up the YouTube, if you open up social media, you get hundreds and hundreds and thousands of teachers teaching everything under the sun. Well, that's a lot of it is relevant, and of course the major part is not worth it. But then you have to have your judgment, and if you can exercise your judgment correctly, you can really derive lot of knowledge and expertise by listening and learning from the the YouTubes and other social network. When I became a judge, that time also we were not digital. It was not, emails weren't also there. And so we had to resort to books only. And books were very expensive in those days to buy, but we had no other alternative. Because I was so passionate and wanted to learn about dogs. It was just for my own satisfaction, not that there was any future in judging. In fact, when I became a judge and started running around everywhere, going to every show that I was asked to, even jumping onto trains and going in short notice to sort of replace judges who were unable to come due to some reason or the other. So in those days, people really thought this young boy has nothing to do, so he spends his time because there was no money. You could travel, spend about a week or so coming and going and staying and judging and talking to people. End of the day, the only way I could console myself was I had a bag full of friends, and people asked me, people told me, what is the pleasure that you get by going and spending so much time? You are not doing anything for yourself to sort of earn. But anyway, but I would sort of counter that by saying that end of the day I have a bag full of friends and people that I have met during my journeys around the country, every part of the country, and then later on, of course, around the world. Judging in those days, as I was saying, that it was hard work, and people really thought it was not worth it because you had to travel. Then came, more and more shows and more foreign judges. And for foreign judges, you had to sort of arrange for better accommodation and, of course, better travel arrangements and things like that. Slowly, the communication system started improving, air communication started improving, airports started, more and more airports coming up. So when the foreign judges started getting, privileges, of course, those were what they were used to. Then the Indian judges started getting the same. Then, of course, the unfortunate part, earlier it was just honorary job, and then there was a small fee fixed for out-of-pocket expenses for the Indian judges, and then after that the fees started increasing, and all this of course we didn't have much hand in it, and somehow it was very motivated, I think, and slowly the expenses of dog shows started growing for each of the clubs, and what really ensued, those things I will take up in a later issue. But now let me just concentrate on the judging subject of judging dogs. So in order to learn, you had to buy a lot of books in those days. But then the time started changing, and if I was born and wanted to become a judge in today's era, I wouldn't have bought so many books that I did buy in those days. Those books that are there, of course, they are my prized possession, and it's something that I cannot even exhibit. If I show it to people, the problem in those days were we had to hide the books, because otherwise we would get requests from friends to lend it to them. And once you lend books, it was difficult to get them back. So and today, if you exhibit all those books, it means it will only mean that you are trying to show off, because nowadays the requirements of books have become very much less. But then knowledge is at your fingertips. So anyone and everyone has a great advantage of really upgrading themselves if they are passionate about learning whatever subject they want to. But we are, of course, talking of dogs here. And then, as I mentioned, the judge's chair is shrouded in controversy. So, and in those days, when you made judges, they made sure they were not professional people. They were not trainers, handlers. For me also, there was a lot of hindrances. People didn't want to make me a judge, because when I became a judge, just before that, I started a veterinary clinic. People objected, but they should not be giving me a license, because I was running a veterinary chamber with several veterinary doctors who were working round the clock. And it was very necessary in that time, because in Calcutta, the number of dogs, the show dogs, were increasing, and there were lots of good veterinary doctors, and the facilities in the hospital was only limited to a certain timings in the day. So the private clinic, my private clinic, of course, did very well at that time and was a need of the hour for the city of Calcutta. But then a lot of people, of course, there was competition. A lot of people didn't take it well, and I wouldn't name anybody. People went with my leaflet that I had printed for advertising my clinic. Because in those days, it was now you can advertise in various ways: WhatsApp group, Facebook, this, that, and digital. But in those days, the only mode of advertising or whatever was by printed media. And so even that leaflet was taken to the, discussed in the committee and things like that. And every attempt was made so that I was not given a judging license. But then I'm thankful to the H.H. Maharaja Jaideep Singh of Baria, and the other stalwarts like Baba Matthews and Mr. R.P. Mitra, Mr. Ojoy Bose and others who have really stood in support of me, and I could get my license in those early days at a very young age. But then to the people of today, to the dog lovers of today, I would say, see, of course, nowadays is so much of competition to establish oneself in life. So you really get, and then the business, people don't stop. They keep on earning, they want to earn more and more. They rarely people want to, they have time in life to stand and stare. They are running all the time. I was talking about judging, and then the era came, people wanted to become judges. Dog shows became more and more popular, and a lot of more people got attracted to to becoming judges. Of course, by the time the facilities for judges had been stepped up, and there were a lot of people who were wanting to travel around the country and judge dog shows. Of course, that is the time, that everything was going very, very well. But then, unknowingly, due to the influence of certain people, there was a lot of corruption that crept into this game, and it went into the hands of a very corrupt syndicate. And this corrupt syndicate actually manipulated everything to extract money from dog lovers, which was very easy. And so that kept on going until the game met with disaster. And we have been disgraced internationally as a dog game country, But I suggest that we should all now get together and promise ourselves that we are going to rebuild this reputation and bring the people back to this fancy who have left this game, understanding it was a group of very corrupt people who were actually operating and running this dog shows in India. Now about the knowledge. One has to acquire knowledge. That is very important. Like honesty is important in judging, similarly knowledge in judging is also important. In those days, means I can tell you, just to learn procedures of judging, which is not a breed book or breed knowledge, I have got at least 3 or 4 books who are just devoted to how to become a judge, or what a judge should be doing, what the judge should be wearing, how the judge should be behaving, and all this sort of thing, all the procedures of judging. So, dog judging my way and things like that. There are lots of books that I have acquired in very early days, just passionately to learn dogs, when there was not a penny that was paid to dog judges to go judging. Even today, I don't judge for money, because if you have observed in the last decade or so, I have hardly been invited by people. Means, of course, I have people who would like to invite me, but whenever the invitations did come, they were either cancelled by the syndicate by some plea or the other. Those are the things I will take on later, and I will tell you with specific proof that what transpired if people invited me to come and judge for their shows. So naturally, I kept away from domestic shows for quite some, and judged only for a few friends, few clubs that always run by the good friends of mine. This important. What I like to emphasize is the importance of acquiring knowledge. There is lots and lots of material available in the net, in Facebook pages and things like that. But then one must know how to go about it. What happens nowadays is the things have changed completely. In earlier days, there was a saying that I have said before in other episodes. Like, in dog judging, sometimes we would get very poor judging, and people would very badly interpret the standard, and the worst dogs would win, the best dogs would lose. But then there was a saying that it is bad judging, call it bad judging or inconsistent judging, that is what keeps the dog game going. Because it keeps the hope alive for the newcomers that we might suddenly win, we might win a best in show, we might beat the top dogs. My dog, actually, people love their dogs like their children, and so they feel their dog is the best. This is a normal, common feeling for a dog owner towards his pet dog. So when he comes to a dog show, comes with the hope that he might win. If the hope wasn't there, he wouldn't have come. And then, what happens is that suddenly, if there were shows where a bad dog wins, and then that person is hooked for life. At least for the next 10 years, he will keep on coming to dog shows with bad dogs. Maybe he doesn't know what is a good dog or a bad dog. So he would come with similar type of dogs, or the children of those dogs, hoping they would win. But that was the saying that. So it was rare. Bad judging was not as common. But now what has happened? It is bad judging which is common. So people just, whoever puts their dog up, that judge is the best in the eyes of that exhibitor. So if you have more and more bad judges, so all these bad judges are more advertised in the internet. You see pictures, you see, how they advertise themselves and they show themselves off, that, they sort of, even the people who win, they, of course, dogs are not all that bad. It's good also. But then they must have much better dogs. But then the much better dogs, if they have not won, bad luck. They will, a person who, with a bad dog, if he has more money, he will utilize the digital world to advertise his dog, and the judge gets the mileage. So, the other thing that I would like to, before conclusion, that now it's an established fact that how do you get international judging? It was there then, and it's become more and more nowadays. In order to sort of get more judging appointments abroad, one needs to invite foreign judges. And so it's a reciprocal thing. You tell the judges, I'm going to invite you, you must give me a return invitation, and things like that. So that is one way of judging. And the other way that good judges get appointments is by reputation. They have so much of appointments already that, they have good reputation, so they are invited by several countries to go and judge. But those are very rare, they are far in between. But the majority of the judges, they trade in appointments. So, bad judges are more in demand. There is one more factor, of course, that is involved. Is certain, like countries in India. If you have to really come and judge in India, you have to, means the majority of the judges not only has to be bad, but also has to be corrupt. So if you are, willing to do favors here when you come, then you're most welcome, because you get more additional benefits. And then, of course, you call these judges back, and you might expect certain things from them. For me, I have never been asked to do favors abroad, because I never asked judges who came and judged my dog to do favors for me. So these are things one must keep in mind as a dog judge. If you keep it a passion, if you keep it a hobby, it's fine. But if you think you want to make it into a profession, I think I cannot be a good advisor to you. Because to become a real professional judge if you want to travel and go around the world, then I think you have to do some more magic, of which I'm really not aware or really not competent enough to advise you. With these words, I'll come back again on more judging, talk about judging. Of course, it's so vast subject. I know I can keep on talking, it will never come to an end. But anyway, let me try, let me keep going ahead, and let me be advising and, sharing my experiences. If it benefits you, I shall be happy. If I am able to enlighten a few, that will serve my purpose and my efforts that I put in to all my YouTube channel episodes. Please do subscribe to my channel. Press the bell button for my next notification on dog shows, dogs and pets and whatnot. And then, of course, like and share it. Thank you, bye. Bye-bye.